Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm just going to wait a few minutes to see if we can get a few more people in here. There's not a whole lot different, unfortunately, because we don't have lineups or anything from earlier today. So I have a place I have to be at 4. I have to go sign my lease, and it has to be at 4. So I had to do this a little bit early today. And my plays haven't changed much because we haven't gotten any new news, which again is probably going to come fast and furious in the next hour and a half. I'm still expecting. I'm under the impression that Trey is going to play, and I am going to play him if he plays. Even with Bogdanovich, I think you've got some options for a run back. I think my favorite is actually Paolo. I just feel like in this matchup that he could definitely do some damage, and the guy is basically like if he gets a double double, he's getting 45 or more, and there is a lot of ceiling on how much he can score. It's just it's not my favorite play in the world, but if I'm, because I'm looking for a run back, I do kind of like doing that. Also, really like DeRozan, Van Vliet as other spend ups, using Bassey, Gafford, and Baisley currently for value, but open to switching depending on what starting lineups are. Thanks a lot, Adam. Appreciate it, man. Kind of exciting. Yeah, I'm going to be settled in for once. It's been like a year, literally, and I've been just all over the map, and it's going to be nice in about a week or so, or right around Christmas time, to have my new place all done and all that. So I appreciate that, buddy. Definitely looking forward to it. My kid will be coming to live with me shortly too. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and we can focus more on continuing to make TrueDFS a better product, day by day, which is what we're going to do. So anyway, we have good stuff out there too that you might want to check out. Like we'll be releasing a video with Pierce Dietrich, who works for DraftKings. We've got some other people who we're going to start having guests on. I want to talk about Stake Kings, but we're going to wait to record that video. So we'll get into all that stuff another time. But for me, that's how I'm treating this slate is the Trey and Bogdanovich on FanDuel together. And I don't think you need to have a run back, but I do kind of like Paolo as a run back. I'm also looking for something to get off of some of the chalk. And Paolo right now projected to be in the 5 to 6% range owned. I think he'll end up closer to like 8 or so. But I'm good with it. I do think you could make an argument on FanDuel. I'm using Markelle Fultz as my run back. I don't think you need a run back with those two guys, but that is what I'm doing for what it's worth. It's highly volatile with Orlando outside of Paolo getting minutes, because those minutes for the guards are all over the place. Even Bull's minutes have gone all over the place. So it's a little bit wild right now. And yeah, thanks, Adam. A lot of exciting stuff coming up. I wish I had more to cover on this little show we're doing, but we haven't gotten any of that news that we need to decide our final plays. So if you are a member, you can look at my early lineup builds right now. Not a whole lot has changed. And that's pretty much all that's going to happen. I'm only playing tonight because I actually do like this slate, and I feel like there's a number of interesting ways to go to get off chalk. The chalk that I'm the most fond of is the pretty obvious chalk. I think that Gafford and Bogdanovich are really difficult fades on FanDuel, on DraftKings. And I think that Jang, the whole front court situation is definitely volatile for San Antonio. Hopefully I can get back to my computer by the 5 p.m. game of San Antonio, because I really want to know who's starting there. And even if Jang starts, I think I still might take shots with Bassey as a way of getting a little bit different, even more so. I also think that the Q tag going on for this long with Trey. Let's just take a quick look at his numbers here. Yeah, he's projecting to be, probably somewhere in the 12% range owned. I'll take those chances. I also like Halliburton as a spend down, but I really think without Murray and in a game that should stay close in a bad defensive game, I really like the idea of playing Trey and Bogdanovich together. And I think, like I said, you can run it back. You don't have to run it back. I also said I want to play one of DeRozan or Levine in my lineups against the Knicks here. I have settled on DeRozan for the most part because of position eligibility, but I think you could definitely go either route, and that's fine. But I'm not spending all the way up tonight unless we get some more crazy news coming in. I think it's okay to. I have no problem with it. I actually think that by the end of the slate, it's one of those things. Luka was projected to be 1% owned the other day, and by the time the thing's locked, 60% because of all the value. So if Trey's out again or something like that, that's going to make all that kind of interesting to figure out. So we're going to have to wait and see on that one. But other things that I like on this slate, I mentioned that I think that playing, without Anunoby, I like the idea, especially in just a killer matchup, I really like the Van Vliet, Siakam, or Scotty Barnes or Boucher builds. Like one of those four guys is going to be in my lineups tonight. Mostly it's going to be Van Vliet or Boucher on FanDuel, especially for Boucher. But I really like them in this matchup, and I'm still really hesitant about this Sacramento situation. It makes me nervous because if it just feels like Fox has been playing hurt. Herter is questionable. At least he probably like if anybody in addition to Herter sits, and even if Herter sits, that's a little bit of a slate changer for us. So we kind of need to wait to figure that out. So the Bam or DeRozan relax with TBJ. Like the problem is, how are you playing Bam and DeRozan? I can't get Bam into a lineup. There's no way I can do it. I'm spending down on like Gafford and Bassey or Jang. There's no room for him. So I don't have any Bam lineups right now, even though I think he's a good play on his own. If I had to project, I think he outscores DeRozan here plenty of the time, but I can't play him over DeRozan because he's not forward eligible. So I don't really have a choice on that one. So the better play per point per dollar and everything is Bam. The problem is I don't know how you're going to have a lineup spot for him because I do have him in one lineup, I guess, where I'm playing him, where I'm just skipping the value, but it's crazy to do. Like Gafford, I genuinely think puts up 40 fantasy points here plenty of the time. Like I actually think that he's got 30, 40 fantasy point upside. And then you have Bassey or Jang, who are going to put up another, I don't know, 8x. So it's hard for me to get to Bam. So that I don't find Bam or DeRozan as ever an issue. I think I have 100% of lineups of mine will have centers in the utility tonight. And if I had to play another one, it would be Bam. At least Siakam has forward eligibility, but it's really hard to not want to pay down for some of these guys. Why isn't this working? Let's see that. Yeah, you've got Gafford and Jang. If they're only 40% honed each, or Bassey in there, like a combination of them is like 40 each, that's too low in my opinion. This is like, I think it's pretty good value. I think you're getting 7-8x with upside. So I'm doing that. That's the way I'm building today. No, not really considering a whole lot else. What else do we have here? It would be nice to get some more if you guys want to take hunches on some guys who may sit, like at least we don't have to worry because Trey will happen right away. At least we don't have to worry. The Fox one is a little, something about this feels fishy to me, but the fact that they announced only Herter out and they didn't announce Fox out, maybe he does go ahead and play, and they did limit his minutes a little bit because they were getting killed. Man, if he's out, I'm just really tempted to go for my very weird Terrence Davis play. Maybe even if just Herter's out. Like, I don't know. That's probably a little too bold and probably unnecessary, but I don't know. I kind of like it. So I'm debating what to do, and it's really like it's really only if Herter's out, if at least one of those guys are out. Back to back, like they could sit these guys, and it wouldn't surprise me at all. They've also been struggling. You could see a shakeup in the starting lineup. There's a lot of things to look out for in that Sacramento-Toronto game. I also think the spread is kind of crazy. Toronto's favored by 5. I have Toronto winning this game by 10 plus points most of the time, and I think that's like a really, really good bet to make. Obviously, we know Koloko doesn't play enough minutes to be viable, but you do have a shorthanded Raptors team. There's a lot of guys here who just haven't played in a while, and I just can't. I mean, haven't played much, but they don't have a whole lot of bodies. The thing is, their starters are going to play 40 minutes outside of Koloko, and that turns into Boucher or Thad Young. Yeah. Anyway, I'm just sort of thinking out loud right now if there's anything else to do with the slate. Pop on in with any other questions or thoughts. Please like and subscribe and all that stuff. Usually we try and do it an hour before lock every day, and that way we have more information. Unfortunately, we were not able to pull that off today because of this lease situation. But I'm still got a few minutes. If you have any questions or thoughts on these guys, please let me know. Lineup construction is going to be very key today. And like I said, for me, that means playing a center in every utility spot available. If it doesn't work out, I think the center is completely loaded. If you look at the best values on the slate, but I mean, Bazley you can use it forward at least, but like Bassey, Gafford, and Jang, I have all of those guys between 6 and 9x, basically on every measurement, and really, really hard for me to ignore that kind of value. I also feel nervous about not playing Jalen Duran. I think he's a really interesting pivot. If we don't feel comfortable enough with the San Antonio situation, maybe that's what we do. I think Jalen Duran is like this is the nut matchup for centers. We've seen Duran. He's finally starting. We haven't seen the huge breakout game, but he's been, since he's been starting, he's averaging 26 fantasy points a game. He's 4,100. Why is his projection 22 in the best matchup? I project him closer to 27, which makes he and Bassey like right at the same kind of play. And as I say it out loud, I may do that. That might be the way to go, is skip the San Antonio news, because they could legitimately keep Bassey at his normal minutes, start Jang and play him 18 minutes. And they also have other bigs, that they can use, like Roby. So Roby played 14 minutes in the last game. Bassey played 20 minutes in the last game. Jang, who has been out of the thing, what if Jang just takes over Zach Collins' role and plays 20 minutes and the other guys get the exact same number of minutes? Whereas with Duran, yeah, you've got more bodies to fight through. It's harder for him to play a ton of minutes, but give me Jalen Duran at 26 minutes tonight. He'll put up 30 fantasy points. That's my prediction. I just don't see how he's not going to. So maybe that's my bold play that I can talk myself into. Don't know what you mean there, TBJ. Let me know if you have any questions, because all you have to do is look for the value button on SaberSim through TrueDFS, of course. But yeah, I do feel like the Gorgui Jang thing is very suspect. I don't think Bassey is that suspect, but I think Jalen Duran may be a better play. That's interesting. Okay, now I'm sort of talking myself into something. Maybe you do, because also all those other guys, you're going to have to use your fouls against Nurkic because none of them can guard him one-on-one. Bassey, they have yet to really extend him, although he's got just tremendous point per dollar type of results. I don't think he's played more than 24 minutes in a game this season. So it feels like, okay, with the starting two centers out, we got to play him. But I'm definitely going to get at least some Jalen Duran here. I just think that it's too strong of a play. And I won't have any. I have one lineup that has no Gafford, just sort of like in case he fouls out. But mainly, I don't think that you're trying to fade Gafford. I actually have him on both sites as my, just easily my highest owned play. That's the thing, is that Duran over Bassey, you can play Duran and Bassey together, but I think you probably rather play Gafford and Duran or Gafford and Bassey. I'm just throwing it out there that with San Antonio, when they've got bodies available, it doesn't matter how good these guys look, and they've got enough bodies to get through the day. Yeah, you have to match up with Nurkic's size, so Bassey and Jang, even if they split minutes, they're not going to play more than Duran is. And by the way, Roby's getting minutes in there too, more likely at the 5 than at the 4 because of the situation right now. So I really think that I'm talking myself into this Duran thing a little bit. It's interesting because if you look at it from a projection standpoint, right? Like if Bassey doesn't start, he's going to project for 24 fantasy points. Meanwhile, you've got Jalen Duran, who's projecting at 22 fantasy points, and Jalen Duran is projected to be owned 2%, and Charles Bassey is projected to be owned 25%, maybe a little higher. So that's interesting. Look, I'm not saying this is the optimal play, but this is a great way to get different. It just sort of is hitting me more and more. And I think you could play both. I do think that the one you don't want to get rid of as much is the Gafford. I just can't seem to get myself into quite buying into that one. You know what I mean? Feels a little too risky to fade that because like I said, Gafford could put up 35 tonight. I mean, that could be a really, really huge outing. Even in a blowout, they only have 10 bodies. Taj Gibson is not going to play 20 or more minutes. Like he hasn't done more. It isn't like he's played more than 10 this season. And they're going to have somebody out there to guard Jokic or DeAndre. I mean, even just to match up with DeAndre Jordan, they have nobody else. So it's really, really Gafford is the most difficult fade on the slate, regardless of any information we're going to get. I don't feel great about my Bazley play, but I am just looking at OKC being so thin up front. And I think Bazley has a chance to start tonight, which is going to make his projection look better and everything and all that. I don't mind him off the bench because the only other bigs they've got is Muscala. and that they could use Muscala. That's the one fear you get by playing the Darius Bazley. But Bazley's been in the rotation. He's getting some minutes. It's not obviously a good matchup, but he's 3K, and I can use all that value to spend on those guys that I talked about. Dort's fine. I'm not playing him any, but he's fine. Just for fun, I am going to throw one in the $15 with the Duran and Bassey because no one's doing that. And I have a Duran and Gafford in the $88 for what it's worth, just to be in the name of true transparency. That's what we want to do. One other name who no one's talking about, Kevin Love. That's another one of these guys. Like by the end of the day, can't you just see like Kevin Love puts up 40 fantasy points and these other guys all have like 20, and we're like, why didn't we just play Kevin Love? Like, but I still think he's a little thinner with Karis LeVert coming off the bench with him. I like Boucher, Joe Snow. I always say Jon Snow every time I see your name. It's hey, it can't be a bad thing. The guy, along with his family, saved the Game of Thrones world. Anyway, pop on in any more questions. I don't think I have a whole lot else to offer until we get starting lineups. My plan is to try to go figure something out and see if I can get my computer somewhere near this house that I'm meeting the new landlord at. But I don't have the Wi-Fi or anything yet, so I'm gonna have to try and figure that one out. What is this message? I don't need this. Delete. All right. Doesn't look like there's anything else that I haven't touched on. Do really like Halliburton. Wanted to re-emphasize that one, I guess. Yeah. And the guys who I didn't end up getting to because the game doesn't look good anymore, I still have a feeling Jamal Murray is going to put up like at least 40 fantasy points tonight. Guys who are better on FanDuel, Jordan Poole is much more playable on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. Jonathan Kuminga, Golden State guys actually in general. Kyle Kuzma. Who else do we have over there? Boucher is a little better over there because of his style of play. No problem with the 4,600 on Gafford. Kawhi at 7K is just fine by me, but I don't think it's like a lock and load, but he is in my FanDuel lineup. And I have Trey on every lineup that I'm playing, I think, except for one tonight. Just to be, again, name of complete transparency here. I also think Oladipo is more in play over there, but it's just people aren't. I don't know what to do with Oladipo. It's another revenge game, and the last one didn't work out at all. Without Butler, though, maybe. I don't know. It feels a little bit tough. All right, let's see if any other thing else. Who am I most over? I just went through my whole list. I have 100. I have very few lineups because I have to leave, but I just named all of my plays. It always is funny to me when we get the later ones, but like I said, I like Trey and Bogdanovich, Bassey, Gafford. I like DeRozan and Banchero too, but those are my most guys. I love it, really, man. I really do because I've now got Jalen Duran a full 50% in my few lineups. I talked myself into it. I really like this as a way to get different. And you know what? The way it hurts you is if one of the San Antonio guys goes off, obviously. But if they even get like whatever, if there's so much of the time they end up with like a similar score to Duran here. And if we had just got the news that Duran was starting for the first time today in this matchup, I think we would be just as into Duran. We're just sort of speculating on this stuff, and we love to speculate. We don't need to speculate so much. All right, relax. Sounds good. Well, now we've got the same lineup and the same thing. We've got the same basic build. I've got those two guys in my $88, but I'll take the 5%, buddy. I'm never going to say no to money. And we got a lot of people loving the Duran call. I might have to switch it up and put Duran in my 888 and not in my 88. That might be the nuts here. I think I'm going to do it. I don't need to wait and worry about anything from San Antonio. I can just hope that it evens out with those guys. And there's no reason why Duran can't play more minutes than all those guys. And it's a better matchup by like a million miles. I'm talking myself into it, guys. It's happening. We've got Jalen Duran here, not Bassey. A little nerve-wracking. Bassey's so good point per minute. I'll put that in my 88. Yeah, I just like it a little bit too much, I think, to not. If you have a creative idea, it's usually good to pull the trigger, so I'm going to. One thing that worries me a little bit is I am playing Van Vliet tonight. He's been, I mean, talk about guys falling off the cliff. I do think that Jordan Poole is playable at 7,800. I think that it's probably not at like instinctual to play him, but it's actually a pretty good matchup. And all we know is it just takes Jordan Poole getting a little bit hot. And on a back-to-back, you think maybe they take a little bit of the load off Steph and maybe let Jordan Poole. So I'm sort of flirting with the idea of, you know what, I think I'm going to pull the trigger in the 88. I'm going to play one Jordan Poole lineup. And that's the way it's going to be. Boy, I really love that. If this call works out, this will be a good moment. Curry's playing tonight, yeah, but you have no Clay, no Wiggins, and they're all on a back-to-back. I like it relaxed. I think we talked ourselves into something, so hopefully it works out for us tonight. I'm gonna bounce because I've got to get going pretty soon. Hopefully, with whatever news we find out, we'll make some adjustments. We'll get there. I will try to answer questions in Discord. It's gonna be tricky, but I'll do my best. And I appreciate you guys all very much. Please like and subscribe. I do like Ivy, by the way, too. I just didn't get to him. It's just I like the other players a little bit better. I think for Washington, you should be running it back because I don't think that Washington is going to stay close in this game very often. But I think it's totally fine. I don't know who your four are. I guess Will Barton is in play again, even at 4,800. Monty Morris going back to Denver, who, by the way, I don't think is officially in yet. Kispert on FanDuel. Avdia is reasonable price-wise with the other guys out. Gafford is the main one. So Gafford with Kuzma. Yeah, I think you could play 4, but I would probably like a run back at that point and hope the game stays close. I appreciate you, Relax. That's awesome. You know what? Because you helped me come up with it, if I win the 888, I'll send over a half a person. I'll send over $500 just for fun because that would be kind of cool. Like just to be, it's nice to have a little sweat with our brothers here on our True DFS brothers. With that said, guys, I'm probably going to get out of here. I appreciate you all very much, and I hope we can take down the big ones tonight. I really think that we've got a good shot to do so. And just remember, don't feel shy about getting a little different. It makes a lot of sense to get different on this slate. For some reason, oh, you know what? I never entered this thing on there. If I win 100K on FanDuel tonight, just remind me that what I'm about to do is going to cost me $1,000 because I am posting it on Stake Kings, which I wasn't going to do. But now I'm going to do it. I'll talk about it some other time when we get into more Stake King stuff. Pop on in questions, guys. I'll answer anything else that pops in there. I got to leave in a few minutes. Let's see. And at some point, I'm gonna have to take some time out because I've been getting I've had some plays that I really liked. I had the Lakers situation. I had the LeBron with Davis. Sorry, the LeBron and Tatum. Of course, you get lucky with the overtime. I also had Jaylen Brown. I had one Westbrook lineup. Every single one of them had guys got hurt last night, and I'm just getting killed on the hurt stuff. Yes, Adam, we are going to do the live show on Thursday. It probably will be a few beverage type of event because I'm going to be at my buddy Kenny's, who works on the back end of the site. Sheets is going to join us, and maybe we'll have a few beverages and do the sweat show tomorrow. I think it'll be a lot of fun. We've got more basketball games than a Thursday we usually get on Thursday. We've got an interesting real life football game. And then we've got NFL. We got NFL Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's going to be a lot of fun this weekend. I don't have any particular inclination to play Mathurin tonight. No. It's a wild card play that always could get there. Has only kind of gotten there once in the last month, basically. It's fine. It's not a play that I came up with at all. But Mathurin's going to have us go some days. Oh, I knew I should have played Mathurin. Then he's going to make other days. It's going to be like, oh, why the hell did I play Mathurin? Because he's just going to have a wide range. Just what happens with rookies. He's going to have a wide range of outcomes. Simple as that. All right. It looks like the questions are drying up. Guys, I appreciate you all very much. And I hope we can crush it this week. I do want to encourage you guys, check out Goldie's video. I want to remind you guys, when we have Goldie's value, do you know what that is in our Saber Sim? You guys got to remember this. That's the entire everybody in the DFS world. That's it all combined is Goldie's projection. He has combined everybody else in the whole DFS world and averaged it out. That's an incredible tool. If I first started playing DFS, that would be the first thing I'd be looking at. You're getting everyone else's ownership and projections and projected points and everything combined. So we don't need to pick one who's the best. Now Sheets are weighed towards what's worked the best for Sheets. But I think it's important that you guys know that. I appreciate all you guys. Thanks so much, Relax. Thanks so much, Adam. Thanks so much, Joe. DFS Wolfpack, is that? Yeah. And Brian, everybody who showed up, we appreciate you. Sorry about the timing. We'll be back on schedule tomorrow. I will be out for the recording, but I will be in for live, and we will talk. And then the Sweat Show, the most fun of the week. Hopefully, this time, hopefully I can win the 100K and the game goes into overtime rather than a buzzer beater. Anyway, thanks a lot to you.